Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Retro Warriors episode 579. Woo! As always, I'm your host, Justin Baker, and as always, I'm joined by viable human Chris Saturn.
Hi, Justin.
Hi, Saturn.
We made it.
We have made it. There's no housekeeping. Everything's as normal as it gets.
Yeah, basically. Actually, for me, yes, it is about as normal as it gets. I've not been working overtime the last 2 weeks. It's amazing.
Oh, wow. Oh, good. I knew you said that maybe things would slow down, but I hadn't heard the shoe actually drop, so that's good.
Well, they brought in one new person, and then the person who's been out for a year and a half just came back.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
awesome.
We actually have enough staff, and so I've not been working overtime, and it's been so weird to not
so
be
much
at
free
work
time
6 days a week.
Well, good. That's good.
Yeah.
My kids started school, so life feels more normal to me than it has in the last couple months. So we're back on our regular schedule.
Nice.
Speaking of what I've been doing, my week. I've been playing more of those cave shmups.
Yeah.
I'm very in the weeds.
That's where you play shmups in a cave?
I wish.
Didn't I make that joke last time?
I
may
think
have made that joke last time.
I picked up, God, I don't even know how many games. I think I've picked up a dozen games, about 10 of them being imports.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to go back and look. I took a picture of one of my deliveries. So I picked up a shitload of stuff. I've not gone through all of them yet. But I got Espra Day, I got Death Smiles 1 and 2 compilation, I got Ketsui, I got Death Tiny, I got Escaluda 2, I got so much stuff. So much stuff. I've been playing through the two M2 Shot Trigger Dodonpachi games, so Dodonpachi Daifukatsu and Dodonpachi Saidai Ojo. And then the Black Label and arranged versions of those games inside of those compilations. And it is man, they're cool. They're real cool. One of them is you can't get it anymore. It's been yanked off of like eShop, and I don't know if it's still on Steam or not. But it's one of those. And Daifukatsu is really, really cool. And Saidai Ojo, one of them is just basically like arcade Dodonpachi and Black Label Dodonpachi, and then with some extra stuff. And the other one is like, I don't know where it came from. I don't know what arcade board it was released on, but it's definitely a much later game. Also still playing lots of Dangun Fever on PS5, as well as Ketsui. I got Ketsui in the mail, which is another... They call Dodonpachi, like, they refer to it as like military style shmups.
Yeah. And
Ketsui is in that same camp of military style shmups. But when I think military shmups, I think like 1942.
Right, yeah, same.
Not Dodonpachi. That's not a...
It does feel different.
It does. It does. It feels like I don't know, like sci-fi military or something.
Right. Or anime military.
Yeah, but all this to say, I've been just ass deep in bullet hells. I've been, I think I mentioned it. I'm wanting...
Ass deep in bullet hells is the name of your new autobiography. Right?
Justin Baker, ass deep in bullet hells. I think I mentioned last time, I do want to do some shows on bullet hell games and on cave games, but I'm very, very bad. Well, I mean, I'm very bad at all games, but I'm very bad at shmups. And so I've been playing these to practice, to kind of actually learn the fundamentals and like not get good at them, but get like serviceable enough that I can recognize certain qualities about them,
Good enough that you can tell other people to get good at them.
Right. Yeah. Well, this is the internet. I can be as good as I want and tell people that.
That's a good point.
But I just want to get good enough that like I can talk about them, because like it's hard for me to talk about the difficulty of a bullet hell because they're all impossible to me.
Right.
So I've been putting a lot of hours into playing lots of them, trying to understand lots of them, and trying to get better at them just as a genre.
Nice.
The downside is a lot of bullet hells. It's like, hey, you do need to have some skill in these specific areas, but also. And there are techniques you can use, but also a lot of it is memorization, which doesn't help when you're playing 20 different games. But my hope is that I'm honing the skill side of things a little bit. And so I've been
to fake it.
Do what?
At least enough to fake it.
Yeah, at least enough to fake it. And I am getting a little better. I will say I'm definitely better than I was. So that has helped. Also, you sabotaged me.
I did?
Because you told me about Beaver Game.
I do love Beaver Game.
You told me about Timberborn last time.
I love that we've mostly been calling it Beaver Game.
Yeah, in the group chat, it's Beaver Game.
Yes.
Everyone's playing Beaver Game. Andrew won't play Beaver Game. He says he fears Beaver Game.
Well, he should. He should play it. He should also fear it, but he should play it.
And I picked it up because you said it was good and it looked cool. And I got it thinking it would be more SimCity-esque, and it's definitely more like Dwarf Fortress Ultralight-esque, which is a problem for me because I've got many hours in Dwarf Fortress. And it's really good. I've been having I have my complaints with it. I don't like the path system that you have to build paths to everything. I just flat out don't enjoy that and find it annoying.
Once you start messing more with the zip lines and tubeways, the paths aren't.
I do those too. I just still don't like this. Like, I built this building. Now I got to fucking connect it to shit.
Yeah.
To me, it's just an annoyance. I'm like, this is an annoying thing that gets in the way of me building these mega structures that I want to put together, you know?
Yeah.
But beyond that, I would say, like, if anyone out there that's like, man, I want to play Dwarf Fortress, but like, I don't need a second full-time job. I need like the ultra mega light version of it. This feels like that to me. It's got a lot of the same qualities. It's that same kind of colony management thing where like you don't actually directly control anything. You just kind of request things. And then
I just build things and then they do things on their own. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they build the things.
Yeah.
You request that they build the things, and if they have the materials or the labor force available to do it, they will do it.
Yeah.
Which is this, all the colony management games are the same, where it's like you only have so much direct control. It's mostly you asking nicely for the people, or in this case, beavers, that you oversee to do the thing that you want.
Yeah.
But it's really fun. I didn't know that the different maps had different I don't want to say in game, but like completion requirements or whatever.
No, all of them. It's just you build the big wonder.
You build the big thing. Yeah. Okay.
But a lot of them have different unique elements. Different some of the maps will have like geothermal fissures where you can build a geothermal plant.
Yeah.
Different maps will have different things available to you that you can build. So it just depends on which one you're after.
Yeah, I just picked a map and had been like, I built the thing and I got the in-game screen, congratulations or whatever. And I just kept playing that for hours and hours and hours and hours. Cause I was like, I don't want to give this up. And then you're like, yeah, the other maps have different stuff on them. So now I got to go do the other maps. Cause I was on the first, like just on the list, there's like 2 or 3 maps that it's like, this is the recommended one.
Yeah. The easy ones.
I started at the top, and I don't know what it is about that map. Utterly impossible for me. Cannot play it. The game is useless to me. I can do nothing. Everyone dies. And then the next map down, I think it's called the Waterfall map. Awesome map. I do amazing. It's incredible. It's great. I don't know what the difference is.
I've just been going through and clearing them from top to bottom. And at the moment, I'm working on the horseshoe map. And I am at 67 well-being, and the max is 77. So I'm trying to figure out how to get those last 10 well-being points.
Yeah.
So that I can unlock that achievement.
Yeah, well, it's definitely ahead of me. I think the highest I've gotten was like mid to low 40s on well-being. I think is the highest I've gotten so far.
Yeah, the secret is just give them every kind of food and every type of entertainment.
No, I'm not going to do that. They'll work either way.
Then you'll never get any higher than
that. Like once I hit the end game in the maps and I've built the big wonder, like I usually start throwing in extra shit in there. But God, maintaining every type of food is such a pain in the ass.
Well, once you've got the entire map planned out, it's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, but then you gotta dynamite away the whole map and clear everything and tunnels, and it just
that's my favorite part. I love on the current map, I've completely leveled everything. I've dynamited every mountain so that the entire map is a flat plain, just with the river in the middle of it. That's great.
I do really wish they had better tools in that regard. Because that kind of annoys me. Like, I wish I could more easily just be like, hey, yes, well, we can build the dynamite to have to dynamite each individual block, but I wish there's an easier way to select them other than going through each layer vertically and doing the, 1, 2, 3 dynamites or whatever to whatever height that you need them to be.
Yeah, sometimes I'll just do tunnels. I'll just
I tunnel
go down to the bottom, make a giant square tunnel of all the area that I want dynamited, and then just do tunnels on top of that until they just blow up the whole thing going downwards.
I just wish there's an easier, just in ways that I could just designate, like, all this, clear this out, and we'll go work out the actual material cost of doing that, but we want this cleared.
Right.
Something a little broader scope, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I put, I don't know, I mean, 30, 40 hours into that, just staring at my one fucking map.
Yeah, I was going to look and see how many hours of it I had played, but when I click on it on Steam to see how many hours I've played, it just gives me one of those addiction hotline phone numbers.
It's real good. Everyone should play Beaver Game.
Very good. Everyone should go play Beaver Game.
It's called Timberborn. I don't know. I think we only said that one time.
Yeah, it's very, very good. I have Steam says I've put 220 hours into it.
Oh my god. Well, so anyway, my point was you fucking sabotaged me.
Letting it play in the background.
You sabotaged me because I had 2 games to play for this tonight. And you're like, oh, we're going to play 2 games and one of them is enormous. Hey, here's Beaver Game. Fucked all my shit up.
The enormous one you had already been playing for weeks.
All my shit up.
And had already written all the notes on.
That's true. Yeah, these notes are weeks old now. So, yeah. Anyway, Saturn, what have you been doing? I just see Beaver Game here.
Yeah, that was it. I was just going to talk about Beaver Game, but now we already have, so it's fine.
Yeah. Let's do the news then.
Okay.
First up, Square Enix posted some AI-generated art for Kingdom Hearts, which they swear isn't AI-generated, and I looked at it, and if it's not, someone should be fired. What are you doing?
They've since retracted it and edited it to get rid of all the obvious AI signs.
Yeah.
But not all of the, like, things that look AI.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no, it wasn't AI, even though we had to go back and fix it. Like, I think they gave Donald too many fingers.
There was some hand-related shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yes, it was all just annoying and dumb.
Yeah, if only there was somebody at Disney who could draw, they could have done this.
Yeah, I know. They should go hire some people that are good at drawing cartoon characters. Maybe there's some companies out there that could do that.
Yeah.
I know Disney's really good at rigging realistic animals for bad remakes. I don't know about animation.
Yeah, I was driving to work and I passed a Subway right next to my office. The sandwich place, not like a mass transit.
Right.
I live in
Texas.
We
don't have mass transit here. This is Texas. We just
right.
buy a truck or fuck off. That's
right. But I passed a Subway and they had a poster in the window. There's a remake of Moana.
Yes, yeah, they did one they did that. The
like,
Rock is himself that he's playing Maui again, and it looks weird seeing him because
what wasn't the animated version of that like just a few years ago?
Less than 10 years ago.
Okay, all right, I'm not crazy. All right,
my daughter watched it when she was little. I mean, she's still little, but little.
Sure.
And we watched it a ton. It was a great movie.
I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's less than 10 years old because she's 10 and she was older when it came out.
Yeah, I was thinking that it wasn't that old, and so the idea that they're already remaking it just seemed baffling to me.
It's just strange. It just feels very. What's also strange is people are reprising their roles. Like The Rock is still Maui.
That's weird.
Which part of the point of not the point, but like part of remakes to me is like, oh, we're remaking it. We got to get new talent. We got to get different people involved.
Give new people a chance to try it out. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, no, it's the same guy. They just put a wig on him now instead of CGI or instead of animation or whatever.
It was
just
CGI.
very.
Let's be fair.
I mean, yeah, it's fucking weird. But yeah, I'm getting real tired of the AI art. Every time I go to the grocery store, more and more labels on food products are AI art.
Yep.
Lots of AR art in the grocery store. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Did you know gaming is still around and revealed that Ocarina of Time's perfect Metacritic score is incorrect?
Yeah.
I did not watch this.
No, they just found some contemporaneous reviews from when it came out that were not perfect 10s, that when factored into the Metacritic score, it is no longer the highest rated game of all time.
Oh no. How many people rioted?
I don't know yet, but
I hope they're in a bunker or something.
Well, I think they're occupied looking at the pictures of the remake.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they're busy right now.
Yeah. They'll notice in a couple of years and be like, hey, what happened?
Yeah. Rumors pointed to Xbox potentially leaving Steam. Microsoft has since refuted these claims like they refute many claims.
Sure.
So we'll see what actually happens with that.
They didn't do the half-assed refusal like they normally would.
Right.
It's like,
we have nothing to announce at this time.
Or we don't want to make any specific claims about the future or any of that shit. It was just, no, we don't plan on leaving Steam. We make a lot of money on Steam and we want to keep our games on Steam. So that's something, but that doesn't say that they're going to keep all of their games on Steam. So we'll see.
That's true. I really feel like this generation is going to end up being the last one where stuff was largely available on different platforms.
You mean the only one?
Yeah, really the only one, realistically. I mean, I feel like last gen was pretty good about it.
Kinda, but there was still plenty of exclusives and Sony didn't make anything outside of their ecosystem. Of course, Nintendo still hasn't.
That's true.
Last generation, and Microsoft only started towards the end of the generation, so it's really just been this generation.
It's sad. We weren't like, God, I get sad thinking about how we were in a pretty good spot a few years ago. Memory and hard drives and computers were dirt fucking cheap.
Yep.
Game Pass was the best deal in gaming. Sony games were coming out on PC. All the first-party Nintendo stuff was easily emulatable on just about anything. We were in a good spot, man.
And then they took it from us.
They never forget what they took from you. Speaking of Xbox, consoles are spiking in price in Europe as much as £200. Is that pounds?
That's euros.
Euros, pardon me.
Yeah, the E is the euros. The Libra sign is pounds.
I just have my font too tiny. I need to make a bigger font. I just saw a squiggle. Xbox price is going up. I don't know how anyone can justify an Xbox or a PlayStation 5 for that matter in this current climate.
The prices are just exorbitant.
Insane. And I can't imagine that. I was looking, like someone posted on like PC deals or whatever Sublimi community that was like a 4 terabyte NVMe drive with no DRAM cache for $390. And it was a link to a Reddit post of build a PC sales subreddit.
Yeah.
And I opened that, and the one of the top rated comments is like, "This is the last helicopter out of Saigon. Like, this is going to be the last affordable NVMe that we see for a long time." And I was like, "This is $400? Is it?"
Yeah.
Oh my God! For like a mid tier, like it's not even a good NVMe. It's just like is an NVMe.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, maybe I should buy one. And I looked and I was like, this is a shitty drive. Like, I don't need this. Oh, just makes me sad.
Yep.
Makes me sad.
Anyway,
EA's new owner is demanding $700 million in budget cuts.
That's a normal number, right?
Yeah, I'm sure EA could trim $700 million. What do you think, Saturn? What do you think they could do it?
Some people are saying this could lead to layoffs, Justin.
What? In the games industry?
I know.
Oh, my God. This is fucking depressing. I feel bad for everyone that works at EA, and I'm sure all of them are already looking for new employment because, man, the hammer's going to come down real hard for $700 million in budget cuts.
Yeah.
But it's okay because the games are going to keep their quality, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, good. Has EA ever dropped in quality, Justin?
Oh, God. It was in the game 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It no longer is.
EA, they removed it from the game.
The Brick Boy core has been released for Analog Pocket, accurately emulates the original DMG's awful screen, and anyone that says it wasn't awful is lying. It was terrible. It was terrible then, it's terrible now. It's terrible.
What gets me is one of the pictures they used to show off this core, to show off how great it is, shows the emulated screen with like those lines down the middle of it from when like the contrast was just out and the battery was running low and somebody set a drink down on your Game Boy. And I'm like, this is what people want. This is what people are seeking out.
I will admit, to a little bit of nostalgia.
Sure,
such
nostalgia,
that,
absolutely, yes.
yeah,
I'm
like I'll
with you
turn
there.
that stuff on and play for 20 minutes and be like, ha ha ha, now I want to see my game, and then I turn it off. But yeah, kudos to them. They're preserving.
It looks great
you
for
know
what it's meant to be.
Yeah, it is. It is very
accurate.
correct. I wouldn't say it looks great. I would say it looks very correct.
Very accurate. Yeah. Yeah.
Good on them. DigiTimes reports that all DRAM production has been booked/claimed through 2027.
And potentially 2028.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought I'd heard 2028. So yeah, through 2028, which means that things are only going to get worse.
Well, there's supposedly some that may not have been permanently booked through 2028 of both DRAM and HBM, but probably through 2028.
Honestly, at this point, I think the only hope within the next 5 years of anything, I don't even want to say normalizing, but just slowing down its acceleration, is the fact that a non-insequential amount of data centers that were supposed to be built are not getting built.
Right.
And my hope, maybe that will, again, slow it down. It's not going to stop it, but maybe it will slow things down a touch. That would be nice.
Yeah. I don't know. I was talking to a coworker who has a family who works at SK Hynix in Korea.
Yeah.
And they claim that even like the warehouse guys and everybody on the production line are getting bonuses this year of close to $100,000 USD.
I mean, good for them.
Right, yeah.
Holy
I'm glad
shit,
that it is being shared with the actual employees who are working.
Good on SK Hynix for giving
that's
it
excellent
to
news.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, how do they have so much money if they're not jacking up the prices? If these are just normal market demand prices, surely they wouldn't have that kind of spare money, right?
Well, I think the problem is nothing is normal.
No.
And this is the issue that we've been saying all along, is that, like, I'm not saying there is not a RAM shortage. Obviously there's a RAM shortage. There's a huge demand for it right now.
Sure.
But when these prices go up, they're never going to want to lower them.
Nope.
When is the last time that you saw a market be like, well, I think we can afford to lower prices drastically on purpose now, instead of them just slowly drifting down over decades of time?
Yeah, never going to happen.
Just doesn't. That's just not how it works, man. They charge as much as they can get away with, and then they knock it down one little smidge whenever people get upset, and then they keep doing that, and it's tough. It's tough times. It's tough times.
Now, granted, we have seen memory drop in price before. That has happened in the past. Not even that long ago, there was a time when the cartel was attacked by governments and prices of RAM went down for almost 2 decades there.
Right. But I mean, even then, it wasn't them of their own volition choosing to do it. They were subtly encouraged.
Correct. Yes. That's the real secret sauce.
And I don't see that encouragement happening again.
Not soon, anyway.
No,
maybe someday.
Certainly not soon. So it's really rough, man. I watched Gamers Nexus has like a 4-hour documentary on basically the RAM crisis.
Yeah.
And to their credit, man, they went to they were like talking to G-Skill. They talked to the people at Corsair. Like they talked to actual manufacturers and stuff. And literally every person they spoke to was like, oh yeah, this is not going to get better. This is going to get way worse. Multiple people were like, oh yeah, consumer computing is dead. Like it's gone. It's buried. It's not a thing anymore.
There is a part of me that is one. I'm incredibly grateful for the journalistic work that Gamers Nexus does.
Yeah,
but there's a part of me that is really disappointed that one of the last bastions of journalism is somewhere called Gamers Nexus. Like, come on, guys. The fuck we do.
Probably one of the best channels on YouTube doing incredible work, but yeah, that name.
Yeah. Like, what is going on, guys? What is
Although, to be fair, Saturn, we are called Retro Warriors.
Yeah, I'm not saying we're any better, but we're also not legitimate journalists. So
Gamers Nexus. No, we're not. I don't think we're legitimate anything. Sometimes I don't even feel like a legitimate person. I'm just not sure. Anyway, finally, Sega showed off some wristwatches inspired by Dreamcast and Mega Drive, which is cool. If you like wristwatches. I'm
I'm wearing a wristwatch literally right now, but I'm not interested in this. But I'm glad it's out there for anybody who is.
I don't think I saw these ones.
Oh, they're not as ugly as the ones that you normally jump for, so I did not tag you on it.
First of all, these are very cool looking watches.
Yeah.
Who's making it? It looks like a Seiko shell or something on it. What is
Maybe,
this?
I'm not a watch person.
Japanese collaborative fashion company, Super Groupies. These are really cute controllers. I like these a lot.
Yeah.
My concern is they're only coming to Japan.
Right.
And so I'm not going to be able to get them. So,
yeah.
Anyway. Which brings us to our topic at hand.
Does it?
Which is EverQuest Legends. I'm so excited, Saturn.
Yeah.
Synopsis. Yes, we've had one EverQuest, but what about second EverQuest? But not EverQuest 2. I guess it's third EverQuest, technically. Because we did do an EverQuest show. We did a Project 1999 EverQuest show when I was on my classic MMO tear. Was that last year before? I don't even remember when it was.
I don't.
It's been a minute. Alternative synopsis: revisiting one of the original methods for hairy dudes to pretend to be sexy elves with other hairy dudes from all over the world. I think you wrote that.
I did write that.
We do have questions. First question is from Lee Madden. It was asked on our Patreon. I'm not sure if this is a good question, but I've heard Justin talk many times about EverQuest, and I'm still not sure why he actually likes it. Is that a rude thing to say? He seems to play it, but what is it that really recommends it for him? Or maybe what sort of personality is it best suited for? And I'm glad that they wrote in with that question, because it made me add a whole section of my notes that you're going to have to listen to. Because it did occur to me that I spend a lot of time talking about how Project 1999 and classic EverQuest, and I'm about to spend a lot of time talking about how Legends has changed or improved or preserved classic EverQuest. But I don't talk a lot about classic EverQuest like as a game that you might want to play. So I am going to try to bullet point all of this here.
And also, I would like to state for the record that the listener's question started with the phrase, "I'm not sure if this is a good question." That wasn't Justin adding commentary before the question.
Yes. I wasn't criticizing the question. It's a very good question. I'm glad they asked it.
Yeah.
I do want to start by saying, if you would like to play with me on EverQuest Legends, I'm on the Keynos server. Our guild is called Corpse Run, and you can come play with us. It'd be a fun time.
Can you spell Keynos for me?
Qeynos.
Okay, because I saw it in the notes, and if I was just searching for the word Keynos, that's not how I would have spelled it. So I thought that for people looking, they might want to know how to spell
There are
that.
two accepted pronunciations in the community. I choose Keynos because that's just my inclination.
Yeah, I mean, that does look like how that would have been pronounced.
Yeah. So without further ado, I want to talk about why someone might like EverQuest, classic EverQuest specifically, because I should notate there's kind of 4 EverQuests, 5 if you count EverQuest 2. There is original EverQuest that is still running from 1999, has not stopped. It is still running today, and it has had successive expansions and new content since 1999. And that game is, as you would imagine, like most MMOs, nearly unrecognizable from its original iteration.
Fair.
There is the direct sequel game, EverQuest 2, which Daybreak Games is still running, and it is still getting stuff, which is a completely separate game. It was the sequel game. And then there is EverQuest progression servers, which they just started a year or two ago, which are official servers that start real early in the game's life, and then, like WoW classic progression servers, they slowly release content that came out over the years. Well, not slowly, it's kind of a rapid pace, but they eventually your server will become close to the live version of the game. Then there is the EQ emulator scene. There are home emulators for EverQuest. You can run your own EverQuest server. Some people do. There's lots and lots and lots of EverQuest emulators out there. Project 1999 is an emulated version of EverQuest. It's fan run, as is Project Quarm and a bunch of other different fan servers out there. And that's what they are. They're fan servers. And then there's this new game, EverQuest Legends, which is what we're going to talk about. So all this to say that when I say classic EverQuest, what I mean is EverQuest mostly before all of the expansions hit, before the almost 30 years of ongoing content. If not as it was originally, then chronologically close to that. sort of the same way that, when people talk about classic WoW, they're really talking about like early WoW, vanilla WoW, patch 1.4 WoW, whatever your version of WoW was, but the early game, the early expansions. So, why would anyone care about classic EverQuest and want to play it? First up, less stuff. And I get that for a lot of people, less stuff is not a good thing. They don't want that. They want more stuff. But compared to modern MMOs, classic EverQuest is pretty tiny. I sometimes find the insane wealth of content in something like WoW or Final Fantasy XIV or, name any other MMO a little bit intimidating.
Fair.
And I like the idea of getting to really know the whole game. And that's really, really hard in like newer modern MMOs because the ones still running are gargantuan.
Unless you have thousands of hours.
Unless you want to spend thousands of hours. And even newer EQ Live with its dozens of expansions. And I checked, there are dozens. There are 32 expansions to EverQuest.
Nice.
32.
That's got to be an average of about one a year, right?
I mean, yeah. So I like that there are
more
just
than
less
that.
things. There's less to learn. I can look at it and feel like I can actually kind of get my head around a large chunk of it easily. There's also less to do, and I know I'm selling it so hard.
Mm-hmm.
While there are quests in Classic EverQuest, most of them are minor and or skippable. There are some class quests and special armor quests and things that you want to do, but the just like kill 10 of this thing, they either don't exist or there's not much point in doing them. The vast bulk of the game is just fighting monsters, and raids are just fighting bigger monsters. And what I like about this is I'm an easily distracted person. I'm sure nobody has noticed.
What?
I hide it so well.
You do.
But in MMOs, a lot of them like to have kind of subsystems, sort of sub-games, games within the game. Little distractions, other things to do, other ways to play, other ways to experience the world. And that's cool for people that want that. But I have a hard time because I get super sidetracked with that stuff, and I end up off on these tangents and not actually progressing my game. And so I like that there's just less going on. It's much more focused in that way. And then the things that are actually selling points to people that maybe aren't weird like me. One, slower combat. The pace of combat compared to newer games, newer MMOs is just slow. It's to the point that once you get used to it, you can maintain a regular chat conversation while fighting things. Like during a recent raid, I was just casually chatting.
I can do that in 14.
I can't. No, I can't. Most of the combats are pretty fast, or I have to move around and dodge things, and I can't chat and dodge and all this stuff.
Yeah, see, I enjoy that. That's fun.
No, and granted, you have 2,400 hours of 14, so
Look, that's a totally normal amount.
I would say that your expertise level of Final Fantasy XIV is above average. That's where I would
Possibly.
put it. I would put it at above average.
But I got a little mentor crown now.
So I was in a raid and just chatting with a guild officer. It was like my third raid I've ever done in any MMO ever, and we're having a casual conversation in mid combat because it's just slow.
Yeah.
I do like this pacing much more than just sprinting full speed through content and being constantly left in the dust by parties. If I pause for a second, it's just generally a slower game. Even like a fast spell is like a 4-second cast. Like that's a fast one. That's a fast spell.
I don't like that.
Like one of my main nukes as a wizard is a 4-second cast. I use it a lot. Now I have shorter ones and I have longer ones. But like 4 seconds, that's a pretty good cast time for me. Stuff is just slow, and it gives me time to think and work on strategies and talk to people and just kind of administrate my character as things are going on.
I have a problem with slow games where if a game runs too slow, I start looking for other things to do while I'm waiting for cast time, and then I end up just doing that other thing instead. It distracts me away from the game.
I don't find it too slow. I mean, obviously this is subjective. Everyone's going to have a different metric for it. I find it slow enough, I think. There are moments where there are some combats where like if I'm fighting a real tanky enemy where I'm like, all right, this is going on for a while.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's kind of it's right in the pocket for me. I do find the game more social for whatever reason. In classic EQ emulators as well as in Legends, people seem to talk and socialize a lot more in public spaces. Grouping is really fast, despite there being literally no dedicated grouping system. People are generous with their time. The game feels really alive just because all the public channels and venues constantly have stuff going on and people interacting. Which, granted, there's as many people interacting in any other MMO. It's just usually isolated in their channels and their guild chats and their wherever they're going to be.
All right.
And this is obviously just my experience, and I'm sure it's going to vary for everyone, but it is a big reason I kept returning. I talk a lot in MMOs. If I'm playing near someone else, I'll strike up a conversation with them or whatever. And a lot of them, I don't want to say people ignore me, but I think people just ignore regular chat, like /say and regular channels.
Yeah, have that turned off.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do, and so it turns into this thing where I feel kind of alone, where I'm like, I'm just kind of wanting to chit chat a little bit,
That's when you PM somebody,
and
or you do shout. Shout is when you're inviting everyone in the world to talk with you.
Yeah, I don't. Shouts are usually reserved for important information. I try not to use those, although EverQuest does have an OOC channel, which is zone wide. Because I guess when they launched the game, they thought everyone was going to be in character all the time, so they had to have an out-of-character channel.
See, and in Final Fantasy XIV, shouts are reserved for people who are trying to practice whatever jokes they're going to use on Reddit later that day.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
That's.
And finally, I just like old stuff. I mean, it's interesting to me. It's cool to see where the genre came from. It's what I like is... and we talked about it before. It's kind of the thesis of this show is like going and finding an old thing and being like, hey, what's still fun and interesting about this thing that's 20 years old?
Yeah. Where did this come from? How did it get there?
Yeah. And so I just actively enjoy that. So these are all reasons you might enjoy not just specifically EverQuest Legends, but classic EverQuest in its various flavors, progression servers or Project 1999 or running your own EQ server, whatever your preferred version is.
Fair.
But let's talk Legends specifically. This was released to the public July 28th, 2026, as in like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It is on PC only. It's not on Steam either. You have to buy a PC game like an adult on a website. You have to go to the EverQuestLegends.com and then you click buy and all that stuff.
What's the point in playing EverQuest so I can't play it on my PS2, Justin?
Well, that one's shut down, so
yeah,
you gotta wait for fan servers. It is developed by Game Jawn, JAWN, and published by Daybreak Games. These are the people who currently own the EQ license and run basically every non-mainstream MMO, Lord of the Rings, EverQuest, EverQuest 2. They run Palia. They run, they're just like a shitload of the
legacy MMOs.
Yeah, the like legacy, I don't want to call them semi-retired, but you know what I mean. They're out of the limelight. They're in their golden years. As far as first encounters, obviously I played Project 99 EverQuest a while back, and we did a show on it. And I drifted away from it. It was a really fun game, but the time commitment was just way too high, and the skill ceiling was massive. I knew I'd never have the ability to ascend to the higher levels of play and doing in-game stuff. And original EQ and Project 1999 by extension is not instanced at all. So if you want to kill a raid boss, it's you and every other guild standing in front of this raid boss arguing about whose turn to kill it is.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't like that either. And so I was like, I'm just not ready to engage with this. This is too much. And so I dropped it. And I moved on, and I just kept the fond memories. I had a really good time with it. And so then Legends was announced, and it was kind of billed as EverQuest Legends that is soloable and easy, not easy, but like modernized. There's quality of life. It's built for you to very much get through as much content as possible in as timely a fashion as possible. And I was like, oh, so it's classic flavored EverQuest, but it's built so that I can really fire through some shit. I like that. So I played through the beta. I made it through level 37. I currently have a level 47 Cleric Wizard Beast Lord. and I'm doing raids with my guild. So I've officially reached the end game. I'm in the plane of hate. I'm doing raids. I'm farming gear drops. I'm doing the kind of end game MMO stuff.
I'm in the plane of hate every time I have to work 6 days in a row.
The amount of plane of hate jokes that I make. There's also there's plane of sky, and people just call it POS.
Nice.
And so that leads to plenty of jokes as well.
I'm sure.
So that's a good time. Anyway, Saturn, what about you and EverQuest and how much you probably love it, right?
I just have no interest in it whatsoever. There's something about that faux Tolkien-esque aesthetic that I just really hate in everything. Every game, every movie, every TV show. I don't like that.
It's very, very like D&D Tolkien flavored.
Yeah, I don't want any of that. That's not for me. So I'm just not interested in it at all. I was the guy at the game store making fun of all the EverQuest shoppers.
Oh, don't be mean.
I wouldn't do that to their face. I was very friendly.
It's still mean.
I was very friendly and nice to them and welcoming when they were in the store. But as soon as they would leave, I'd be like, that guy smells like Cheetos.
Okay. Maybe he ate Cheetos before he came in. Maybe that was his
probably
lunch.
Did. I'm just saying, it is not for me. I am glad that you are enjoying it so much, but I am not the audience for this at all.
Anyway, let's talk development, because again, this is a new game using original EverQuest as its foundation.
Okay.
So right now, most of the development info about the game is contained within various live stream VODs that the team has done, showing off various features, and I've not watched them all, but you can if you want to. They're pretty interesting.
Okay.
I notated a few people involved.
It's nice that they're sharing that information at least.
Oh yeah, no, they're doing. I think they're still doing weekly streams, and I watched some of them and stuff, and
nice.
It's cool to see because even though it is classic EverQuest, they're building on lots of new stuff.
Nice.
And so I'm excited for that it gets to feel classic, in quotes here, but also there's new things.
Neat.
People involved. Edda Secret's spouse is the CEO, maker of the project Quarm EQ server, which is, again, one of those fan servers.
Quarm is my favorite Star Trek Deep Space Nine character.
Sean Rogeen Norton is the senior engineer who is the co-creator, lead developer, and current administrator of the Project 1999 fan server. So literally two of the main people run the two biggest EverQuest Classic fan servers. Which is a good sign to me. These are people that clearly have a lot of love for the original game and understand what makes it fun. And so far, in my experience, seem to understand how to enhance that fun for regular people that don't have millions of hours. David Sisyphus Yousefi is the executive producer, a longtime Daybreak employee, and seems to be the go-between for emulator projects like Quarm and P99 and Daybreak. It's my understanding that Quarm and P99 do have legal agreements with Daybreak, allowing them to continue operation. And then there are lots and lots of other people worth noting, but documentation is kind of scarce, and I didn't want to sit and watch 10 hours of VODs and just write down names. So to all the people that I've not mentioned, good on you for doing the stuff you do. Anyway, and this was announced in the before time of about 3 months ago. The closed beta kicked off at about the same time, with a paid beta for pre-order customers coming a couple months later. I have in here ongoing as time of writing. It's not ongoing. It's over. Since announcement, the game has been billed as classic EverQuest with modern QOL and the ability to solo as much or as little of the game as you want. And the team has also committed to the Ruins of Kunark expansion a few months after launch, but have stated that this version of the game is a, quote, alternate timeline and won't follow in lockstep with everything EQ originally did.
Okay.
Which I think is a really neat way to do it. So veterans get to experience new fun stuff, and they're not like locked into, this is like progression servers are very much like you have to release it in the order it came out. That's what everybody wants.
Fair.
So it's right at launch, they kind of surprise announced that you could play as Karens, which are like cat people, just out of nowhere, just randomly a race that you could never play as. Now suddenly you can.
Nice. As
an example. Presentation-wise, they kept the original graphics and they kept the original MIDI sounds. So you've got your old blocky graphics, farty MIDI brass sections. They're all there.
Nice.
Which I greatly appreciate. One of the later expansions gave a lot of characters new models and stuff, and I didn't I just don't find them as charming. They were that kind of mid-aughts wanting to be like new and slick, and I don't like them so much. Also, I play a dwarf because that's the correct ancestry to choose.
Not a cat people.
I almost went cat people. Almost did, but I was like, yeah, but if I'm a cat people, I won't be a dwarf. But I'll unlock the cat people later, and I'll place one of them. Anyway,
what if they release cat people dwarves? Would you be down for that?
Maybe, yeah. It would depend. It would depend on how dwarfy they are.
Okay.
It would really depend on that. Anyway, what was I saying? I was saying something.
Something about dwarves.
Oh yeah, no. So they updated the dwarves, and so the dwarf in the original game has like a forward roll for no real reason. Dwarves aren't known for their dexterity, but they're the only class that has this weird jump. And so it's like a thing in classic EQ that dwarves have this goofy ass jump. And so I jump everywhere, and people will literally run over and cheer at you for doing the dwarf jump. One time I was sitting in a camp and we were farming some gear, and some guy's like, "Give me a dwarf jump." I was like, "Okay." And when they updated the dwarf sprite, they made the jump more of like this acrobatic forward flip thing. And I hate it. I hate how they changed the best part of being a dwarf. Anyway, the UI has been vastly updated and simplified. It's still a little bit messy compared to modern MMOs because the way it works is they've got kind of their default mode, but you can move any window anywhere, which means it's highly customizable, but also means that it does take a little bit of like figuring out where you want your windows and where your important information needs to be.
Fair.
The launcher itself is separate from Daybreak's other launcher. At time of writing, it's pretty clean. It just literally updates and launches the game. But some people were disappointed that Daybreak has a subscription service that lets you be subscribed to all of their MMOs for one flat rate. I want to say it's $20, but I haven't checked.
And the Disney Plus of old MMOs?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, basically. But this is excluded from that.
Oh, I see.
And I don't know if I've mentioned it, and I probably do later, but I'm going to mention it now. The game does have a box cost, meaning it costs $20, and there is a monthly subscription fee, which is $10.
Same as a lot of MMOs these days.
Same as a lot, or really lower than a lot. I think like WoW and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, price-wise, it's lower, but the same structure anyway.
Yeah, and so that's low. There is a cash shop, which was very concerning to me.
Yeah.
So far, in the game, you play as 3 classes simultaneously, which I'll talk about more in a minute. And until level 10, you can change those classes as much as you want to whatever you want. But at level 10, they lock you into one of them. That's your main class. And then you can change the other 2 whenever you want. And you can eventually unlock other classes to change your main class. You can also unlock other ancestries to play different races within the game. And they do have class and race unlock tokens in the cash shop. So far, there's no like experience boosts or anything. I think they've said there's cosmetics coming, but I haven't seen any yet. It's pretty sparse at time of writing. And I would say kind of on par with most other subscription-based MMO cash shops. Like World of Warcraft has a cash shop. I don't know if 14 does or not. I think they let you... Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's mostly mounts and cosmetics.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem any more egregious than any of those. Would I prefer that cash shops don't exist? Yes, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
But it's on the slightly less offensive side of them so far. It's early days, right? 6 months of the game not making enough money. We'll see what the cash shop looks like then.
Right.
Let's talk gameplay. So what they kept from original EverQuest, they kept the graphics and sound. They kept the faction system, which is a big thing for me. I really love the faction system in EverQuest. Every character belongs to certain factions, and you can gain or lose faction standing with them such that you can or can't enter certain areas with or without getting attacked, right? So like if you play an evil race, an evil character like a lizard person or an ogre or something, and you go to like the elf city, they will attack you because they don't like you.
Right.
I like that. I find it very interesting. The basics and flow of combat, although abilities have been tweaked, it's mostly the same. You click on an enemy, see what level they are, hit the attack buttons, cast your spells. It's basically the same. They kept the original zones, although they have already been remastering some of them. One of the early game zones near where I start in Greater Feydark is Camp Crushbone, and they went through and revamped it, and they added new loot and changed it around a little bit. It's still there. It's still the same zone, but they kind of added some new stuff to it. So they're keeping the zones, but seem to be revamping them.
I used to know somebody named Camp Crushbone.
Oh, did you? That's good. Which Mad Max movie did they star in?
All of them.
What they've removed so far, death penalties are gone. Dying does nothing except put you back at the safe spot of the zone. You no longer have to retrieve your corpse, which, thank goodness.
Yeah, I hate that.
You no longer forget your spells on death, because the EverQuest is a game where in the D&D tradition, you have to memorize your spells. You sit down, open your spellbook, and drag them into your spell bar.
That sounds exhausting.
It was so exhausting. So now you keep them memorized when you die, and you can even save different loadouts of your spell slots. Like I have one that's all my buffs. So I load up my buff bar and I do all my buffs, and then I hit, load main, and then I load all my main stuff for like running around adventuring. Mm-hmm. Now, would I prefer if I didn't have to do the memorization thing? Yeah, I would. But, I think it's a good compromise to keep the system with it being less tedious. There are no longer mandatory 30-minute boat rides to get to different continents at low levels.
That's good.
The boats are still there. You can ride them if you want to. I don't recommend it. Last time I tried to get on one, goblins jumped off and attacked me. A goblin boat showed up instead of a regular boat, and they attacked me. What they've added so far, and it should be noted that many of these things already exist in EverQuest Live in some form, but they're added in the context of adding them to classic EverQuest. The big one is moat upgrades for items and spells. So as you kill enemies, the stronger the enemies or the higher difficulty you're playing on, you get moats that you can use to upgrade spells and items, which is really cool. You can also merge items together. So like if I merge 2 of an item, I get a +1 version. Then I add a couple more and merge them together, and I get a +4 version, or +2 version, which is nice for when you're farming gear and you keep getting the same thing. You can just make your one thing stronger and stronger and stronger.
That's something.
The big thing is multi-class play. Again, you choose a primary race and class at creation, and it can be changed until level 10. But you effectively get 3 classes that you play simultaneously, and you get all benefits. It's not like a subclass or whatever. Like, you are all 3 classes. You get all things that all 3 of them get.
Nice.
Which is really cool. They've also added in alternate advancement points, which I believe are in Live. I've played so little EverQuest Live. Which is nice. They're kind of like feats, special abilities that you can buy. So as you're gaining XP, you're also gaining alternate advancement points that you can use to unlock special high-level abilities or lessen certain weaknesses that you might have. Overall, the stuff they've added is pretty major, but it still feels, classic flavored, I guess, is how I should say it. They do have loadouts, which is cool. So you can save a class loadout and be like, all right, I'm a cleric, wizard, beast lord. And you can go to a town and hit change loadout and change it to something else. And it'll drop all of your spells, your everything, your bars, your setup, your equipment. You can set it all up and then save that loadout with that equipment, those spells, however you want it, and then swap between loadouts. Which is cool. It just takes the tedium out of swapping classes, because obviously if you swap classes, you're going to need to re-gear yourself and pick different spells and abilities and all that shit. They added stances and invocations. So each class has a selection of stances and invocations that are basically like static buffs you can switch out as often as every 6 seconds, even in combat. And they drastically improve player capabilities, and they drain your endurance bar while they're being used. So proper swapping and selection of stance and invocations absolutely makes or break combat situations for me. Picking the right stance will be a matter of life and death when I go into combats. And I don't really have time to go over all of them, because it'd just be me listing a gigantic, boring list of shit. But they range from like 95% chance to avoid incoming attacks to healing the least healthy party member for any spell that you cast.
That's something.
Yeah, they're quite strong, and they are specific to each classes. So your class loadout determines which ones you have available.
Nice.
We talked a bit about spell sets. You can, with an alternate advancement point, have up to 14 spell slots. But as far as I can tell, that's the maximum. And when you're level 47 and you have 3 classes that all have spells, it's not as much as it seems like.
Yeah.
My guess is just from playing the game, like the core design is so centered around you only having a select number of your spells prepared at any given time that I get that they probably can't easily just strip it out.
Makes sense.
Also, you get so many fucking spells that having them all available at once would be pointless, and a lot of them just literally replace lower versions of them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Instances. This is a big thing. They have private instances that you can spawn for any zone, either solo or as a party, so you don't have to interact or compete with other players for anything. So if you're playing through a zone and you're like, hey, I want to play my own personal zone, you fire up a solo instance and you're the only person there. You can also set zones to be respawning or non-respawning, which I've found useful because a non-respawning zone lets you kind of tackle dungeons in a more single-player fashion where you sort of move through them a single time to the bosses and then fight the bosses. And I've been using it for like learning zones and stuff so that enemies aren't spawning behind me as I'm going forward in the dungeon, which is pretty cool. There are difficulty settings. Every instance can also be changed. The difficulty can be selected whenever you change them. And you can also select difficulty for public zones. So like there's not just like you go to Camp Crushbone, there's Camp Crushbone 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And they're all like the main public zone. Difficulty does not just raise the HP of enemies, which I thought was interesting. Instead, it adds classes and abilities to enemies to make combat actually more difficult instead of just like bigger numbers take longer time. The downside for me is that the XP value of monsters doesn't go up much or sometimes at all for increased difficulty. So if you're wanting to turn it up to continue XP farming your favorite zone, it won't work out too well. And then the higher difficulties drop higher quality gear as well. So if you're in +4 and you kill something, whatever item you get is going to be a +4, which you can then combine with other items to make them stronger. What else? They added rituals, which is awesome. So some spells don't need to be prepared for you to cast them. So things like teleportation and binding spells and stuff. You also get spells auto-granted up to level 20, and this is another thing that's going to make Saturn mad, is that traditionally in EverQuest, you have to go buy your spells and then learn them because you don't know them.
That's how the early Final Fantasies were.
True, very much like that. Very much like that. Up to level 20, they're auto-granted. There's also auto-skill, so that you can automatically perform certain skills like backstab and bash and kick. They did add a little bit of party related stuff. There's gather party functions that you can use to gather all your party members, teleport them to wherever you are, but you can only use it once every 6 hours. They did also add a proper guild system, like they've brought in the guild window and you can manage your guild and see your guild members and stuff like that. Probably tons of other cool shit that I'm too dumb or ignorant to know because I don't.
You didn't spend as much time with the original as a lot of people did.
Right. I've never played actual original EverQuest. My first EverQuest was Project 1999, which is kind of where I started. And so that all kind of dovetails into why Legends. So at the top of the show, I talked about why Classic EQ might be interesting to someone. And I do think it's worth taking a minute to give some reasons why someone who is like, hey, Classic EQ sounds interesting. Should I try Legends or actual Classic EQ, which is very hardcore. Very hardcore. Like, well, Corpse...
Those people have been running for almost 30 years now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Corpse runs are insane to me because it's not instanced. So if you die at, like, a raid boss, your fucking corpse is there in front of the raid boss. You have to go all the way in there to get it.
You can just hope that another team knocks it out.
Well, and then when you get there, you have no gear because your gear is on your body.
Ugh.
Not in Legends. Legends took that all out, but like just the level of hardcoreness. Legends itself is, and this is just my opinion now, it is designed to be completed. In about 40 hours of play, I've reached the end game on 3 classes because when you level up, all 3 of your classes gain the levels simultaneously. Mm-hmm. And up to level 10, all 16 classes, whether you are them or not, gain levels. So whenever you swap to, hey, now I want to be this class, you start at level 10. And in a game where there's only 50 levels, 10 levels it's a good amount. It is soloable, because like many pre-WoW MMOs and some post, like Final Fantasy XI, for example, we did a show on that not long ago.
Yep.
They did not account for solo players. You effectively, like you could find a tricky way to solo some stuff, but they were not built to be soloed.
Right.
This one is, both through solo instances and through difficulty adjustment and things like that.
That's good.
Instances are another big reason to go with Legends, because having instances means you can really play the game you want with the people you want. Mm-hmm. And again, it's actively developed. It is maintaining the spirit of classic EQ, but over time it's going to kind of grow into its third. It's like a third thing.
That is really neat.
It's
still developing.
It's not actually classic EQ, with time, or even at launch, but it's also not live. It's just this weird third thing, which is kind of what happened with like old school RuneScape, which came out several years ago, and it was like, hey, this is 2012 RuneScape, but then they keep adding shit, so now there's stuff in OSRS that wasn't in the original game. So yeah, that is a big one. It is an actively developed MMO with a team working on it, and they seem very passionate and dedicated, and they've said like, hey, Ruins of Kunark was the first expansion that hit EQ back in the day, but they've even mentioned like, hey, we're not even technically tied to releasing the expansions in the same order. We might just skip one that we didn't like or that was bad or that people didn't enjoy and just not do it and go on to the next thing or whatever.
Right.
So all this to say, in my 117-ish, 120-ish hours, I've greatly enjoyed it. It's very much a social experience. Like it's still tough. I don't want to make it sound like it's not a tough game. There's still an MMO amount of stuff to learn. There's still a lot of abilities you have to learn. You have to learn the ins and outs and the jargon and stuff like that. But it never feels unfair.
Yeah.
And even when I die or something bad happens, I'm like, oh, that sucks. I go back to the beginning of the zone. Like, having virtually no death penalty also means that I'll put myself in more situations that I wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah.
Like I'll actually go out and see, combat situations where I'm like, I don't think I got that, but maybe I do, and I'll try it, because if I die, like, no big deal. I will say the most annoying thing for me is I took an alternate advancement called Quick Buff. So as a cleric, I've got like, 12 buffs that I put on myself, and I'm a beast lord, so I have a pet, and I have a pet skunk. And so between the two of us, it's like 24 casts to put all these fucking buffs on us whenever I die. But if you take Quick Buff, it will cast every single buff you currently have memorized on every single party member that is eligible for it simultaneously, whether you have the mana for it or not. Which is awesome. It's my favorite ability in the new game because I buff all the time. Because EverQuest is very much a game of buffs. When you're playing Legends, you will at all times have between like 6 and 25 buffs active on you all of the time. And the problem with it is it's a 10-minute cooldown. So if I die in less than 10 minutes, I timed it one time. I was like, all right, I just did Quick Buff. I just died. I'm going to actually go through, equip all my buffs one by one, cast them all on me and my pet. And by the time I was done with it, my Quick Buff had already finished its cooldown.
Nice.
So I've now it's like if I die in less than 10 minutes, I just sit there and wait. So the penalty for me is however many minutes is left on my Quick Buff cooldown, because I'm just going to sit there and fucking wait on it.
I think 14 killed pretty much all of its buffs a few expansions ago.
Really?
I used to have to start every dungeon by casting Protect and Shell and Stone Skin and all that shit on everybody.
Yeah.
And when I came back to the game after, what was it, like 10 years, all those were gone. Like all those spots on my hotbar were just grayed out with a line through them. And I was asking people, I was like, how come I can't cast Protect anymore? And they're like, oh, that's dead. They killed that. It's just assumed that everyone was going to cast it at the beginning of every battle, so it didn't make any sense to leave it on there for everyone to cast literally every time.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But it also just so it becomes such a like a ritual, you know,
Right.
like it's a part of the game that you're like,
Yeah.
well, I don't. What do I do now? I
Yeah.
feel naked.
Yeah. And same with the cleric stances. They got rid of all that too. So I was like, well, what am I supposed to do when I attack? And they're like, just attack. You just attack. It's the same.
Yeah. I just granted, I didn't start EQ till 2024, so maybe
Fair.
it wasn't like this. But not having a million buffs just sounds so weird to me.
Right.
I want to have a million buffs. I want to have I want all my numbers in my inventory screen to be green, indicating that they're above their normal value. That's what I want.
So I was trying to look it up to see which EverQuest expansion was the first one that came out after I started working at a game store.
Okay, all right.
And it was
so Kunark was the first one ever.
Scars of Velius was the one that came out right after I started working there.
Okay, was that the third?
It looks like that's the one right after Kunark.
Yeah, Kunark and then Velius, and then I don't know what they do after
and
that.
then Shadows of Luklin, or however that's pronounced. And then Plains of Power was the big one I remember everybody freaked out about.
I think Plains of Power is when they introduced the new sprites and ruined the
Maybe.
dwarf. I believe is when it was. What I'm excited about is I've only played classic EverQuest now, which Legends, which currently has no expansions, and then Project 1999, which has no expansions.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never experienced an EverQuest expansion, despite there being, 32 of them or whatever?
Yeah, that's way too many.
Yeah, so I'm very excited for Kunark, but also because, again, like at the top of the show, I was talking about how the game is, it's digestible in size. I've been most places. There's 2 or 3 in-game places I haven't been yet, but I've been most places to most dungeons. I've seen a large portion of this game.
Yeah.
It's going to be the first time that an MMO expansion has come out for me, and I legitimately am like, oh, this is finally new content. All this other content is old to me. So it's never happened to me.
Yeah.
So that's very exciting to get to actually have new content occur because I saw someone like the game. I didn't even mention this. The game's got a built-in map. Project 1999 doesn't have a built-in map, and they're also mapping zones that traditionally never had maps, which is cool.
Nice.
And also on the map, this is so huge. On the map, you can turn on enemies, and it lets you see all the enemies on the map, where they are in real time, and it also colors their dot based on how difficult they are relative to your level.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes kind of grinding zones and hunting around much, 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 much easier.
That's nice.
It is very nice, especially for a dwarf like me. I'm small, so I get in crowded hallways and stuff, and it's just a sea of asses. And I can't see anything, and so I'm like, shit, I'll find myself navigating by the map a lot of the time, like not even looking at where I'm running.
I do that in most games.
Yeah, when it's available, I will. I try not to because I like people will ask me questions. Like I was in Lower Guck. I was in Lower Guck, and I was like, "Do you guys want to go?" Because there's 3 big bosses in Lower Guck. There's Frenzy and Hand and Lord. And I was like, "Do you guys want to go fight Hand?" Because we were waiting on the spawn for Frenzy to come back up. And they were like, "Where's Hand?" And I was like, I can't tell you, but I can take you there on the map. I don't know what's near it. Like visually, I can't be like, it's by the such and such statue. I just know where it is on the map. So you can follow me.
With that kind of instruction. If people, even in real life, if somebody's like, "Oh, it's by the Valero," I'm like, I don't know where that is.
Yeah, I'm like, it's the circular room in the southwest of your map by the cathedral. Like I can't. I don't. No, because I don't. I only know it from the little wireframe map.
Right.
But where are we? We're at reception. EQ people seem excited. I haven't seen a ton of information about the game outside those circles. Like I was kind of watching the gaming press to see how it was received, and I've seen a few articles that were more like special interest pieces of like, oh look, they're doing a classic EverQuest. But it seems to be largely not noticed by the mainstream gaming press. Which is,
I think EverQuest in general has kind of fallen off from the mainstream gaming press. So
yeah, most definitely. Legacy, I put who the fuck knows. I have no fucking idea.
Right.
I was talking in guild chat the other day. I'm legitimately worried because I've been enjoying this game so much. We've got a guild put together. We've got I think we're over 60 members. We were over 80 in the beta.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get back to it. We're at 60 now. And we're doing polls to set up our raid nights. right now because people are. I didn't think we'd have to do it so soon, but people are hitting max level so fast that raids are available. And I was talking to I don't know someone in the guild, and I was like, I'm kind of worried that like if this game does bad, like this is like I'm really enjoying this a lot. I really don't want it to go away or get bad. And they're like, yeah, I know, I'm scared too. And the only thing that keeps me going is I'm like, it's got to cost almost nothing to run this.
Well, also, I'm sure they gauged the reception off of the beta and priced accordingly.
And I will say, granted, I don't know the numbers. We don't. I don't think they've released sales numbers or anything like subscriber numbers or anything like that. But it is pretty constant that I'll be in a zone and it'll hit max capacity, and I'll have to zone out, or like when the zone gets too many people, this thing pops up that's like, hey, this zone is overcrowded. Either pick a different zone or we're going to repopulate you into a different instance. And that happens basically every time I play. So that's a good sign. Yeah. Also, almost all the server populations except the European ones almost always say hi when I go to log in. So that's a good sign.
And how much of that is just the Europeans playing on other servers so that they can be with more people?
Possibly that. It's also that I play when Europeans are usually sleeping, so it could just be that it's nighttime over there, and so who knows. But I'm hopeful for the game. I'm hopeful that they've put together a good team of people that have legitimately been maintaining the fan versions of these games for decades now.
Yeah.
And it's been really, really fun. And this is kind of getting into final thoughts. Like if you've been like, hey, classic EverQuest is interesting to me, Live doesn't do anything for me, and I get that because man, I don't. The big thing about EverQuest Live is you're expected to multi-box. Like you're legitimately expected to run 4 clients and run a whole party by yourself.
That's exhausting.
I know. And so when I played Live, I was in it and I'm like in the tutorial zones and I kept like talking to people like, hey, do y'all want to party? Because there's like at the end of the tutorial, there's like a little boss guy you got to fight.
Yeah.
And I was like, does anyone want to help me fight the boss or party up or whatever? And literally everyone ignored me and they were all running around in packs of 4. And I was like, what? Everyone's partied up except for me. And then I learned about multi-boxing. Finally, I think someone PM'd me and was like, nobody's going to play with you. It's like, oh, thanks.
How nice of them.
And at one point, I got out of the tutorial. I forget you weren't on the last EverQuest episode, so you didn't hear about it. But I got out of the tutorial and I was like, where the fuck is everybody? There's nobody in the game. And I finally figured out how to like chat in some of the help channels. And I'm like, help, where is the game? Where is the people of the game? And someone like, came to where I was and was like, yeah, you're not going to play with anyone until you hit like complete utter max level at the complete end of the 32 expansions.
Oof.
And I was like, oh, that sounds fucking terrible. Yeah. And they're like, yeah. And a lot of people, you're not going to know what they're saying as they speak a different language than you. And
nice.
They meant in game.
Oh.
In the game, they spoke a different language. So then they stood there and talked to me for 20 minutes until I understood Elvish enough to go to the Elven city in 10,000 hours or whatever. It was just exhausting.
Yeah.
So all this to say that if you're interested in Classic EverQuest, I cannot highly recommend Legends enough. It's been an excellent experience. It's been the most respectful of my time MMO I've ever played. It's been out for 2 weeks and I have 3 classes almost at max level. It's just been a blast. I've been having a really good time with it. Granted, this is pretty, biased, but everyone playing the game seems to also be real enjoying it. The only complaints I see is occasionally people asking for it to be more easy, which I don't even think I'd be upset about. My biggest complaint is I wish there was a bonus for grouping, because when you group with people, you get less XP because it splits it amongst your party. Yeah. So grouping's really only for like farming and bosses and raids and stuff. Granted, I've grouped through all 47 of my levels constantly because, I die less when I do that. And now I'm grouping a little bit less because I realized like 20 levels ago, I got the evac spell, which lets me just teleport myself to the safe spot of the zone. So I'll just run in to a pack of enemies, kill the one that I want, and then evac out and then run back over there and do it again. Anyway, EverQuest Legends is really good, and if you're interested, you should play it, and it's a fun time, and I've been enjoying it, and you should play, and you should join my guild, and Saturn won't, but I'll be there. So there you go. We also have a Patreon
What?
at patreon.com/retro warriors, where you can
Question mark?
Where you can get Talking Wizards and read along and the other shit we do.
I liked how confused you sounded about it.
Well, I was going to transition, but it felt weird because you didn't give your final thoughts. But I was like, he doesn't have initial thoughts. Why would he have final thoughts?
Yeah, I don't
and
really
I felt
have
like I
any
was
thoughts
skipping
on
it.
this.
And so then it was, I think what I was doing is I was asking permission to skip it with my question mark. I think that's where I landed.
Yeah.
You get other shit that we do. We do read along. We do Talking Wizards. Oh, Board Game Barbarians. We got Board Game Barbarians out. 4 episodes of that
back.
out. It is back in POG form and podcast form.
I almost said in POG form. I'm glad that you took that for me.
And of course, we need to thank the following patrons for their kind donations, starting with Not a Bear in a Man Suit,
And Dev Pie.
SM Oliva,
Jordan Ish.
John Fry,
My love for you is like a truck berserker.
Smolik Style,
Brunt FCA.
Gary Heather.
I feel like you always position this one so I have to say it.
It's the program picked
And also, Riker looks way better without a beard, which is a lie. You should not listen to whoever said that.
That's terrible. I'm going to ban him immediately. I like that even when you see like any like key art or promotional art for TNG, they never show Riker without a beard.
Yeah. They don't show early season Riker. They know better.
Yeah. Like you'll see early season of other people sometimes.
Yeah.
Never Riker. Never Riker.
I think Jonathan Frakes had that in his contract. He was like, don't do that anymore.
I saw some early season, like it was on Plex or something, like one of the arts or banners or something.
Yeah.
And it was like early season Worf where he looks kind of derpy.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's like every now and then they catch him just right and he looks like cross-eyed or something.
Yeah.
Because like how the prosthetic brow or whatever like catches his eye line.
Yeah, early makeup Worf was real goofy.
It was very weird. It was very weird. Anyway, thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. And as always, let us cling together.